We're back. What's up?
We're back. Nothing. I'm exhausted. What's going on with you?
I'm pretty, you know what? I think there's something in the air. I don't know exactly what's in the air.
I feel there's lots in the air.
But there's something in the air that I feel like everybody's a little bit like drained, exhausted, tired, and nothing's working.
Yeah. Let's talk about also, because I just feel like this is relatable content, especially in this realm. I had like a full-blown anxiety attack.
Yes.
Yeah.
So fill us in. How the hell are you? How are we doing? How fine are we today?
We're not. Today, we're all right. We're fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think I just, this past week, all good things, right? Like,
yeah.
between work and like fitness things and this opportunity and all this stuff, all good things. But I think I have 900 doors open, and all of a sudden, like, that kind of occurred to me. Like, we had filmed and I was like, great, cloud nine, yada, yada. And then I think the dust and reality settled for a second, and I had a full-blown anxiety attack.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of told me about this off the pod, and I think it's really relatable because I think you can have so much good that's going on, and that's like the whole thing that like Instagram is only like a highlight reel of your life, and you can be showcasing like all of the good, but then sometimes you're overwhelmed with the good, or you're just kind of like confused or whatever, and I think it's very real.
Yeah, and I think also like the reality of putting yourself kind of in social media more is,
it's intimidating, a lot, overwhelming, vulnerable.
It is.
It's
And
like
I'm
all the
very,
things.
yeah, like I'm very much, I've gotten to a place in life where I'm very much a like, I really don't care what people think about me thing, and it doesn't matter.
No,
you know, it doesn't matter. It's still like the idea of like, this goes out to the public, whoever decides to watch it, people are going to have things to say.
It's
hopefully
also like,
the majority
did I say the
of
right
that.
thing? Did I say that right? And then at the same time, you kind of leave the room and you're like, what did we just talk about for 45 minutes?
Yeah.
What did we just say? And we've talked about like some really tough topics too. So I think when you kind of get into all of that, it almost slaps you in the face. It's not like a bad slap, but it's like a whoa slap.
Yeah, and that's what it was. It was like I had this like feeling in my chest, like kind of the day before we recorded, I think, of just like a touch of anxiety. And then we had recorded and done all this other stuff. And then all of a sudden I was like, oh no. Like I came home and I was talking to my roommate and I was like, and he was like, what's wrong with you?
All right. So what did we do after? Like, how'd you bounce back from that?
I cried on the shower on the floor in the shower.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Honestly, shower cries though, like how good do they feel?
But for whatever reason, I have to sit down.
Oh yeah. Who stands and cries in the shower?
And then I'm like, it feels a little bit like a movie scene because you're just like the water.
I literally was gonna say, like, when you're sitting there and you're just like, where's the camera? Because this, like, I'm doing it right now.
This is the scene. Like the water is streaming, it's hitting me, and I'm crying.
My tears are like melding with the water. We are one.
I was like, this is a fucking movie scene. No, yeah. So that's what I did. I cried on the floor in the shower, and then I spent some time with my boyfriend and my gay, and I was like, all right, back to it.
You surrounded yourself with good people who help you, cried it out, let yourself feel.
Yeah.
And then kind of like how, I guess, as we leave the audience with tangible tips, how do you like what do you take moving forward so that you don't continue to have panic attacks? Which also there may be a ghost in here, just saying, as I watch this paper move.
Honestly, take me if you're here. No. I think, another factor to the whole thing too is my therapist is like in between offices right now, so I haven't had a good therapy session in a while.
You're holding
and I
a lot
think that's
in.
where I dump. So like that also was the big thing. But I think that I'm very go. That's just my lifestyle. Like even, so we had posted something for the pod or whatever, and I had reshared this like on my own story, but one of my friends who's actually from Rochester, he messaged me and he was like, what the fuck don't you do?
Wait, I literally meant to tell you, like my friends are always like, you're starting something new? Like,
yeah, like
what else are you doing?
I was
like,
I don't.
Are you giving something else up? And I'm like, no, I'm adding.
No, I'm adding.
Yeah, like I don't subtract.
No, I'm Kim Kardashian.
I add.
I'll do all 72 of these things.
I'm going to become a lawyer too. And like all these things where it's like, and then we talk about too, like adding more on our plate of like, we got to study for this or do this or let's,
Yeah.
It's a constant thing, like there's so much, and I don't think it's bad to keep adding, but it's like taking care of yourself in that whole realm.
And I think that's what I'm so go that like also like I'm a person that needs alone time.
Yeah.
A lot of people are not like that. I have a lot of friends that are like, nope, I don't even care if somebody's with me and they sit next to me and they don't talk. Like, I love to be with other people. I need alone time.
It's like the extroverted introvert or the introverted extrovert or whatever it is, where it's like you do so well with other people, but then it's like, I need some time to like battery recharge.
Yeah.
And I feel like lately you and I both have not had a battery recharge.
No. I've been like, I haven't, and I think it escaped me a little bit, and like it just became overwhelming. So I need to like I need to say no to things that aren't serving like my current top things right now.
You're not a people pleaser though.
Fuck no.
I am.
No,
I'm
not
a
at
people
all.
pleaser, so I'm like,
I don't give a
yes.
fuck.
And then the day before, I'm like, no, I don't want to. That's something I'm learning is like how to say no, anticipating knowing in 3 weeks I'm not going to want to do that.
Yeah.
So that you're able to be like, no, and that almost like cuts something off your plate. But yes, you're right. The things that like you don't need to do, it's like, nah.
Yeah. And I know how to say no. It is
I
my
do not.
favorite word. But I also don't. I'm kind of saying conflicting things. Yeah, because I'm like, I'm saying I'm doing all these things, and then I'm like, I love to say no, but it's like I'm doing all these things because I want to do them. Like I'm not saying no to things that I don't want to do, but at the same time, I have to like prioritize like what's my top 3 or 5 things for the week, and like can we serve
like
those?
That saying that's like you miss all the opportunities you don't take, and so it's
right,
like if
and
we're not,
especially like when you're in this realm of like trying to get things going and like trying to like make a name for like a brand that you're creating,
connecting,
like,
networking, going to all the things that make sense.
Yes. Especially when it comes to fitness stuff too, like it's so easy to get lost in like this event, this class, this thing, because you're like, you want these connections, you want to know these people, you want them to like teach you things that you're not familiar with. So it's like I have to show up for all this stuff.
Yeah.
But
I just went to this event too today, and these women and I were chatting, and they were saying like how when you're teaching, you're exerting so much energy, and on the bike is so much energy, but it's not just like physical, it's like that emotional energy that you're holding space for other people to connect with. So that's also like sometimes the next 2 weeks I'm traveling, so I do have 2 weeks off of teaching, and I miss it when I'm away from it, but it's also that like ability to just be like, okay, I got to recharge, I got to like do some movement for myself, I've got to do all of that for me, when you don't do that all the time. Like even though you only teach 1 class a week, you then pick up other shifts, and then 3, 4, 5, and it's a lot. Yeah.
I know I'm literally subbing tomorrow night, and
exactly.
and then I'm going out of town on Wednesday, so it's like
where are you going?
I'm going to Utah.
Oh,
Salt Lake. I'm a little.
Oh my God, are you watching Mormon Wives? Totally side note from our wellness podcast.
But I everyone says that. Everyone's like, are you watching the Mormon Wives? I'm like, I've seen them on the talk. But
okay, please, mom talkers, slide into my DMs. Like, let's talk about it.
Yeah, I'm not on that bandwagon. But I will tell you,
Yet.
I'm late. I'm late to the bandwagons of these kind of...
We'll get her into it.
I have my tried and true Bravo shows, but like all this other like stuff, like Love Island was one where I was like, this is so fucking stupid. And then like my best friend was like, just like watch it with me. And I was like, then I was in.
So we need, I'm like a late shit talk episode where we just like talk about all this random shit.
Like tell us what...
That is pop culture TV.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah. No, I'm going to see this French DJ who's actually like doing a couple US tour dates.
Oh, cool.
And I'm just going to do like I'm there like 3 nights, just going to hike.
That'll be good.
Yeah,
get out of the city and recharge.
Just need a good, which is so unlike me because I'm such a city girl and I love it. But I'm like, I just need a second to like.
No, this is also something I was talking about with someone is how like in Chicago, in a city, we don't have that connection to nature. It's like, yes, you can go like see a tree and be like, oh, okay, there's a tree right here. Or go to a forest preserve that's like 45 minutes outside of the city. But really connecting with nature and like getting your feet in the grass is like really hard to do.
Yeah,
in Chicago,
especially
and that's
from
a good
like,
recharge.
Like a hiking standpoint. Like I probably, when I started traveling for nursing and going to different cities and things, is when I kind of started hiking, I guess, because I just was in different places. Anyways.
All right, well, let's get into, speaking of like how we recharge, let's get into today's episode. Fitness routines.
Okay.
And I'll preface this with like, I have a lot of thoughts on routines.
So do I.
But a lot of like skincare and like morning and all of that. But I think it's a good realistic conversation for us to have, just to talk about like morning fitness, evening, and what we do.
We've also had a couple people be like, I fall off the wagon all the time.
Right.
How the hell do you stay on kind of thing? Which there's no right answer to this question. And I think it's different.
Personal.
Yeah, it's so different for everybody. Like I don't know if I've said this before already, but I've had like my friends say things because I'm an early morning gym person. I've always been that way just because when I was working in the hospital, like the 7 to 7 shift sucks. And like the last thing you want to do is go to the gym at 8 p.m. when you just worked for 12. Like it's just not a thing. So I've been like a 5 a.m. gym girly for a long time now. And people will tell me like if I had $1 for every time someone was like, you're just built different.
Right. No, I think it's like a habit.
And I'm like, I'm not. My alarm goes off at 4:40 every morning, and I want to die. Like,
okay,
you know.
But let's backtrack. You were not always a 4:40 a.m. wake up person. Like, you had to literally be like, at some point.
At some point, yeah. I think the way that I got into so I guess the way that I got into the swing of at least getting up that early is, and do I sometimes still now? My alarm goes off and I'm like, not today. Yes, 100%. But like, for the most part, I'm pretty good and I'm pretty on it. But I think this is the way that I talk myself off the ledge. And it is self-talk, I think. I'm just like, my alarm goes off at almost 5 and I like say to myself, like, you could get up now and I know you're tired, but like, get up and get there. Or you could lay here and toss around for the next 60 minutes and then be more groggy. You're going to be tired either way.
Yes.
You know what I mean? The extra
100%.
60 minutes I'm going to get of sleep now that my alarm's already gone off is not going to benefit me. So I'm like, just once I'm physically out of bed, it's okay. It's the getting out of bed that's fine.
Yes.
So like in the beginning, like I just used to tell myself that all the time. Like, you are going to regret taking 60 more minutes of shitty sleep.
Totally. I think also, like, I know, and I'll go into like what I do, but I think I know some people too who are like, they set alarms like 5, 5:05, 5:10, 5:15, whatever. But I think they put like little messages like get up, you know what I mean? So that like you're not, and I think then eventually you can be like, okay, my 5:05 goes up and I'm up, or I set it for 5:40 and I'm up, or whatever time it is. But I think you've got to have some type of motivation, because a lot of people don't have that self-motivation to be like, all right, girl, we got to get up. So it's like a note or a reminder, or you put your phone 10 feet away, so you have to like get up and get to it, and then you're less likely to like roll back into bed. Because for me, prior to the pandemic, I was like kind of working from home and in office. Then I started like fully working from home, and that like 6 a.m. wake up is like, I don't have to wake up at 6 a.m. anymore. So I'm like, I'm less motivated to wake up in the morning from simply like, okay, let me go like work out, because I'm like a 9 to 5er. Like I never had 7 to 7. So for me, I'm now in this process of like, my dogs wake me up at like anywhere from 5:30 to 6:30. They like are like, hey Jordan, let's go for a walk. And so my new thing is like, okay, let me take them for a walk, like a good 30 minutes, like get some movement in right when I wake up. Like, and I'm not saying like power walk the shit out of like this walk, but just like a nice 30-minute walk with them, like around the block, through the park, whatever. And then I'm like up. Will I go to a workout at that time? I've been hitting a lot of like 7 a.m. workouts.
I was just going to say, do you feel you're like more of a, I don't want to use mid-morning because it's not mid-morning, but like
I am not a 6 a.m.
Okay,
I love a 7:30 sweet spot. Not a lot of 7:30 classes, so I have to like debate between a 7 and an 8. Usually they're like 45-minute classes. That's like my sweet spot. 6 a.m. to me is like, woof, it's so early.
Yeah.
Not a big lunchtime girly. I understand the purpose of like 12 o'clock classes, but I feel like it's got to be something where I'm not sweating. I'm a hair sweater, so like to me,
oh god, me too.
That's just not
I'm
it.
like a face and vagina sweater only.
Oh,
is that strange? Like,
I am like hair. I'm an everywhere sweater.
I lift at the gym and I'm like, my face is glossy and my vag is soaked.
The crotch sweat though, they know that you worked out then.
Yeah,
they know.
Yeah.
And then so that's. But I'm also, because I've taught at night, I think I've trained myself that like, okay, like a 4:30, 5:30, 6:30, like I can make it happen. But what bothers me is eating dinner at like 8 p.m.
Eating late, yeah. I think it depends on when you perform better too. Like
totally.
If you are a person that like first thing in the morning, like you feel like you don't have the cardiovascular strength or like weights are heavier in the morning or like whatever it is, then like shoot for the afternoon. I do not perform better at 6 p.m. Like after the day
I definitely
is already over.
early in the, and I also feel like this is something I tell Darius this all the time. I'm like, once you get your ass there, once you're done, you feel like shit, I'm ready to take on this day.
Yeah.
Because it's literally like, and I always say, like, I hate when fitness instructors say this, like, check, you're done, hardest part is done, you made it here. Because I'm like, no, like, this is hard. Like, what? I just don't like it. Sorry if you say it. But I do feel like it is hard to get your butt up in the morning and make it to class.
It is, yeah.
But it is that, like, they say 21 days to make a habit. Like, you've got to do it. And
you
this is something I'm like, there's different things. It's funny because I just wrote up, like, for me, the new habits as we talked about, like, thought about this episode. I was like, okay, like, there's new habits that, like, I do want to start to integrate into my morning routine. Mm-hmm. I don't want a 20-step, like, skincare routine. I don't even want a 20-step morning routine. No. But there's a few things that, like, I've heard of that I'm like, oh, that'd be really interesting. I do tongue scrape in the morning. And when I forget, like, it's kind of been an on-off thing, and I'd like to make that more of an on thing just because I think, like, oral health and I'm working on my digestion. I feel like that's something that I'd like to start to incorporate into my morning. And then again, if I'm working out at 7:30, I don't want to wake up at 5. I want to wake up at, like, 6:40.
Yeah. Like, I want to barely make it out of the door on
do
time.
Something and then go. So I want to, like, tongue scrape, brush my teeth. My face routine is literally, like, wash my face, toner, a little bit of serum, and a moisturizer. And then I've been loving electrolytes. You
do love electrolytes.
I do.
Bitch, every time I see you, you got a packet and a glass of water in your hand.
You know what? I feel like I'm teaching so much. I'm working out. I feel like I need to replenish my electrolytes more than just my water. So I am a big – sponsor us. I am a big Element electrolyte user. Then I've also been wanting to try in the morning before I have coffee or breakfast, bone broth. Mm-hmm. Have you done this yet?
For what benefit, I guess?
My therapist will also tell me, like, I'll listen to a podcast and I'll be like, sold. I'm going to start that.
You're like,
so
yeah.
I'm kind of that girl that was like, oh, I'm going to try this. It's protein in the morning. It kind of, like, is warm, like, with warm water. So it gets your, like, you know, your tummy moving a little bit. I heard it. You can, like, make different, like, cocktails, not like cocktails, but, like, mix it with, like, a chai latte and make, you know, your own little concoction. But I don't know. I feel like it's, like, a good way. I'm also trying to have food before coffee.
Yeah. The only thing about bone broth is I think it's not, I read somewhere it's not technically a complete protein.
No, it's not.
Okay.
100%.
Okay.
I'm not, that's not, like, counting into my protein.
Okay, I see.
And 30 grams of protein at breakfast. That's something I'm trying to do too.
Yeah.
So that's, like, I would say my morning routine, because I'm not always like, okay, I'm getting up early to work out. Like, it doesn't happen every day. And that's, like, I would like to, again, build that habit. Yeah. But those are some things that, like, I'm really actively, like, working on integrating into my morning routine.
Have you ever mouth taped?
At night. I actually have Skinny Confidential's pink mouth tape. Do you do it?
So on and off, because sometimes I just forget.
Do you feel like it helps?
So here's the thing. For $1 million would have told you that I do not sleep with my mouth open. Like, I don't. Yeah. I know that I don't snore, but, like, I would have been like, I've never slept with my mouth open. This isn't a problem for me.
Do you ever get drool?
No, but you want to know what? Like, when I mouth tape, I can tell in the morning, like, my mouth itself is, like, less dry. Like, or something.
Supposed to help with mental clarity and, like.
Yeah, because you're supposed to, like, absorb or be able to take in more oxygen, yada, yada, blah, blah.
That's actually another, I think, routine for evening that I would like to incorporate is mouth tape. Because I think the benefits are huge.
Yeah, I've read and researched and all the things, and I don't know that I necessarily notice a giant change in my sleep quality.
Yeah.
But there are other benefits to doing it that I'm...
Are you an Oura ring wearer? Say that 10 times.
No, I want to... Okay, so let's talk about that real quick. Let's talk about the fitness trackers. I am an Apple Watch girly. I was a Fitbit girly for a long time, and then when I started working in the hospital and, like, you have no seconds to ever get to your phone, I got an Apple Watch because it was easier to just see is any of what's happening on my phone an emergency or, like, do I care? I used to be, like, die hard.
Have to close all 3 rings.
Start the workout. Yes. Have to close the rings. Like, have to all this stuff. And then I was listening to a different pod. I don't even know the pod to reference off the top of my head right now, but I was listening to a podcast that was basically like, why are we competing with this thing that's on our wrist every day? And I was like, that is an excellent point. Like, and that's literally what it was. It was like every day it became this like obsession. And like I used to be like, if the watch isn't going by the time my workout has started, it doesn't fucking count.
Yeah. It's
like
not
I
even
would get on the
worth it.
Peloton and I would like be 20 minutes in and I'd be like, shit, I never started the watch. Gotta start over. Like, and then I got to a point after I heard that on a podcast and I was like, this is so sick in the head. So I wanted to get an Oura ring and ditch the watch altogether. Plus, I think the watch just, I say it as I'm wearing it right now, I think it just makes me check my phone more.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to not be like
attached to the phone.
Attached to the phone either. Because I am, which I have no shame in saying, but I am. So I was thinking about getting an Oura ring because also it's got the sleep stuff. This doesn't have.
So I heard Apple is coming out with, it's going to have like sleep stuff or something like
the thing about this shit is that you got to charge it every night. So it's like, how am I supposed to?
I used to be someone who literally wore the watch and would go and like walk circles in my apartment to close the freaking ring. And that's when I finally like it clicked. It was like, this is not healthy. So I got an Oura ring because I really wanted to track
the metrics.
My ring.
Yeah.
Girlfriend left it in the Lifetime locker room because you can wear it in the water. But I was like, I'm cold plunging. Like, gotta take it off.
Do you ever do that where you're like, this is totally, it'll tell you like, this is waterproof. And you're like,
I don't believe it.
There's no way.
Don't believe it. I'm like, they're lying
I do
to
that
us.
with the watch. I get in the water and I'm like, my arm's like up in the air and everyone's like, you can put it in the water. I'm like, something's not right with that. There's no way.
I legit took it off, placed it to the side, cold plunge. Cold plunge was so cold. Then I ran into the sauna and then left, was meeting a friend for lunch, and then I was like, oh shoot, I don't have my Oura ring. Goodbye, it's gone in the universe. Whoever's wearing it right now, God bless. I hope you're having great sleep. And now I'm like, it was gold, so it was like $400, and I'm like, well, one day I'll get that again, but right now, no. But I do want it for the sleep information.
And the menstrual cycle stuff too. I hear is helpful because it measures temperature and all that all that stuff.
But I wanted to go back to, you said something about sleep. Oh, phone. One of the things for routines that I'm trying to do, and it's so hard, is to like put your phone off an hour
be on your phone.
sleep.
Yeah, I know, dude. I'm the same way. I was like, I'm gonna read. Like, I'm gonna be that girly. She's gonna read a book instead. Like, yeah. And then I lay down and I'm like, I'm too fucking tired. Also, I go to bed at 8 p.m.
Same.
Like, that's my other preface to the whole getting up at 4. Everyone's like, you're built different. I'm not built different. I'm fucking asleep at 8:15.
Yes. Yeah, except for when the Bills are playing. Because they're playing at 7 o'clock.
Go Bills. Yeah, so I try to do that too. I'm like, I'm going to read and like...
Listen, here's my thing. I can read and then I'm like, I read like 2 chapters, close the book, open my phone. So that's something that actually I think like Lauren Bostic and Michael Bostic, they say like put your phone in another room and like get a hatch so that, or like a clock or whatever, so that can be
Love
your...
a hatch.
Same. But like, so that can be your alarm clock. And I'm like, that is smart to me because then you're like, it's physically in another room and you can like I don't know, fight the itch to go get it, but it's in another room. But I haven't done that yet. But that's something that I would like to implement for a healthier relationship with the phone. But then you go back to trying to build your own brand and all of that stuff. And it's like, but you need your phone.
Also, like the phone thing, yes, I agree. Like we shouldn't. I agree, right? Because I just said that I've tried to put the phone away. Is like,
are you going to contradict yourself?
I'm with you. Yeah, here I go again. Everyone's like listening. They're like, this bitch doesn't know what the fuck she wants or needs or likes or anything. But okay, also when you're go all day long and like you're involved in 900 different things, sometimes at the end of the day I just need something mindless.
The mental mindless
and like
scroll.
To read sometimes is just like,
even if it's a mindless book.
Because also like I'm not like a fiction girly, like, you know, the people that love like the Colleen Hoovers and like all the
that's not
most
shocking.
people do. I'm like, a love story, a murder story? No. So like the books that I have, like the most recent full book that I've read was a book about Ebola. And like
thrilling.
Like
if you'd like a full review, Taylor will do a solo podcast on that.
It's called The Hot Zone. It was really good if anyone's interested.
Wait. Oh no. I'm thinking of Fahrenheit 451.
Yes,
the book we read in like
The Hot Zone. Fascinating stuff. Like
sure.
fascinating stuff. That's the type of shit I'm reading. So that's not really like a mind
I have some self-help books that I can.
I've read the self-help.
Okay, I have some of those and I'm like, oh, I should read them. And then I'll get past like the end of the chapter and it's like, journal on this now. And I'm like, I don't want to journal right now. And then I'm like, but I can't go to the second this is like part of my like Virgo perfectionism, like type of thing where I'm like, I can't go to the next chapter until I've already journaled on what I learned in the first chapter. So then it remains tabbed that I should not move on yet. So yeah.
You know what? You're such a good Virgo because I fucking can't stand a Virgo. No offense. I mean, it depends. But
Me,
like
Darius, my mom, we're all Virgos.
no, that's too much.
I know.
That's too much.
But we're like good Virgos, like good Virgo energy.
yeah, I would say that.
GVE.
Yeah. Precisely that. Yeah, no, I like it shocks like it just shocked me when you said in my
Really?
Virgo. Yeah, because you're not
I'm not like overly Virgo, but that's one thing.
I
where
mean,
I'm
I
like,
get like the perfection thing
Yeah.
element from you, but I don't get the like my
hyper.
life is so hard. Feel bad for me. Like
Oh, no.
version of Virgo.
No one should feel bad for me. If anything, they should feel bad that I do some shit to myself. Self-deprecating. Here we go. Okay, back to our routines.
Yeah.
Fitness routines. Like, what is your fitness routine like right now? And I think that's hard for fitness instructors to get into
Yeah.
their own routine as well.
So I've been on like so I love a weight. I love to lift a weight. I'm a weightlifting girl. Like I've been on that train probably for like 3 years now. I used to be one of those strict split girlies where I had like 2 leg days, a push day, a pull day, and a full body day, and then I would work my cardio in.
Yeah.
And
How'd you learn that?
honestly, like all of this stuff that I know about lift, I just taught myself.
Yeah.
Like I've read or watched things on like form and stuff, and like I've worked out with other people, and then just like as time has gone on, it just has become like second nature.
Because it's not
to
easy
me.
to learn. Like,
No, it's not. And like programming stuff too. Like I can program, and I have like 10,000 notes in my
Yeah.
phone of like what workouts I did this week and every single day. And sometimes like my friends will ask and I'll just shoot them the whatever
Yeah.
and they do it. But I don't know. I think I was reading a lot at the time because we've talked about this before, but I was a heavy class girl. Like that was
Yeah.
like all that that's how I got into like fitness kind of was
yeah.
just class. And then I started reading about how good weightlifting is for you simply. And I think I got over the stigma of like weightlifting makes you bulky as a girl and like
that is a huge stigma of why
It's
people don't. And I was one of
huge,
those. Like, I was
huge.
one of those people that was like, I worked out with a trainer and I was like, I think you're going a little too heavy because I'm getting bulky.
No,
and
guys,
he was
I'm
like,
telling you, I've never been leaner in my life than I am now, and I've never
100%.
lifted heavier weight. And I don't mean like I'm not squatting 300 pounds. Also, I have no desire to squat 250.
Okay,
I know.
wait.
Here she goes.
I just
Here she goes.
weighted leg pressed 225 pounds.
Yeah, she's a badass girl.
That's like a lot. I was very, very proud of myself. Okay, but back to weight training. There's a reel or a TikTok of, I mentioned her before, but Lauren Bostic basically saying that like this Pilates trend is like taking over the world. So like everybody should do Pilates to get like lean and lengthened and whatever. And she's like, I actually think a lot of these people are like genetically built like that. And I think that there is something like for variety, but I also think that there's this like lifting heavy is not as prominent or out there as like this Pilates era that we're in right now.
Yeah, it's heavy. Okay, again, like let's preface this also by saying like there is no one formula that works for everybody.
No.
There is no secret. That's why I get so frustrated with these like quick tips and like 8-week bikini body and blah blah blah. Not everything works for everybody. So like unless you're like I fucking love Pilates, it's my favorite thing to do.
And you're
like,
getting there and moving your body. Done. Check. You're done.
great. But if you're like it's not for you but you're like I want to look this way, so I force myself to go every day and like do all this stuff, like can it?
Yeah.
Can it?
Well, that's one of the wonders too of ClassPass is finding out like or the wonders or like the great thing about ClassPass is you can utilize that tool to be like, okay, what studios do I like? Where do I where do I find my most enjoyment that I will go there more? Or
Yeah.
maybe you like the variety of ClassPass and that's what you're into, but I think it's good to try out and figure out like, okay, I really like this. I like that. And then figure it out. And then you can build your own routine.
Yeah.
You know, I've talked a lot about finding my own routine, and I think I'm in this kind of era of I spent so long serving other people as a fitness instructor, and now I'm finally, I think, getting back into like I can serve people and I can also serve myself.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people, the biggest thing I hear about yoga instructors is once I started teaching, I lost my own practice.
Yeah. I can imagine. I can
even with
imagine.
cycling, like you're on the bike, how many times are you like, great, I want to stay and do another one?
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
No, I don't.
You lose like that bit of like I don't want to say like yourself, but you lose that like, all right, I just taught 4 yoga classes. Like, do I want to
Don't
take
really
a
want
class
to stick
myself?
around for another,
Or it's just like a different relationship that you have with it. And it's taken me like a few years to kind of be like, okay, I'm going to get back into it. And then also wanting to like evolve my fitness journey. So I've been like, okay, I'm going to lift.
Yeah.
I'm seeing a personal trainer, like all of these things that are like always learning and growing and evolving and figuring out. And I think I'm in that place where like I don't have a set, like Mondays I'm this, Tuesdays I'm this, Wednesdays I'm this. If I'm honest, what I'm trying to do is Mondays like a weightlifting class at Lifetime. Tuesdays is I'm trying to get walks in and then I teach. Wednesdays I do personal training. Thursdays yoga. Friday that same weightlifting cardio class. Saturdays I teach walking yoga, and Sundays yoga or rest.
Yeah.
I still have like rest in there as well. Like, but that's like the routine, and then I'm trying to get steps in. That's one thing that I think is huge. Is we are so sedentary.
See, the thing is, I used to not be like, because I would
At
at
the
work,
hospital,
yeah, like some days it would be like 25,000 steps, like, and now in my current nursing role, I have busy days, sure, but I'm not
on your
I'm
feet
not
as
running
much.
around
No.
like I was
Also,
before.
even the space that we're in is not as
Is
big as a
not
hospital.
nearly, yeah. So
That's something
getting steps in is another
Good goal.
good. But again, that's why I love living in a bigger city, because like a lot of times I'm like, where am I trying to go? Is it close enough for me to just walk there? Like I'll
Totally.
walk 20 minutes to West Loop just to
Get steps.
like,
Because I
it's,
feel like it's something we don't do often. That's also like when I was saying my morning routine, going and taking the dogs for like a 30-minute walk, is I'm starting already to build my steps into my day, because otherwise I'm sitting at a desk all day.
yeah, like most people are, and it's miserable.
Yeah.
It's miserable.
And then you're like, to your point of 7 to 7, do you want to at 7 o'clock be like, all right, time for me
Let
to
me
get
get my-
5,000 more
yeah.
steps in? And I don't think it has to be 10,000. I think like 5 to 7,000 is like a great goal.
I think as long as you move around.
Yes.
Honestly, like I think as long as you're making a conscious effort like every day just to move around, and some days are going to be exceptionally better than others, and like some days are going to be shitty, and some days you're going to be like, I need to be horizontal
Girl,
for the entire
some days
day.
I've been like, oh wow, I've got 673 steps in.
like I've gone from
Crushing it.
my couch to the kitchen and back.
Like I'm literally crushing my steps. But I think it's like a very relatable thing that everybody's like, okay, my goal is 10,000 steps, get into 10 classes a week, and blah, blah. And it's like, what the fuck? No, I'm going to
Yeah.
try for like 5,000 steps a day.
I think that's a good point. Okay, as far as like, so when we talk about, when I've had my friends just approach me and be like, how do I stick to this? What's the hack? Like, whatever. I think we need to start shooting for smaller goals.
Yes. Smaller, sustainable goals.
Smaller goals. And especially like, I mean, I'll sit here and harp on weight training all day long and how good it is for you and like the benefits of all that. And that's a whole other thing we can get into like at any point. But I think like the small goal of just like, let me at least get into a space at the gym where I'm comfortable is like a goal in and of itself,
Well, it's
right?
also, though, if you set yourself up for these promises or goals that you're making for yourself and you don't like achieve them, you're less likely to want to set new goals.
To do more, yeah.
Because you think you're setting yourself up to fail. So you're like, I don't want to do this anymore. When you set yourself up for, I'm going to lift heavy one day this week.
Yeah.
And you do it, you're like, check, that was great. Next week, I'm going to do it again. The week after, you're going to do it again. And maybe the 4th week, you're like, I'm going to do it 2 times a week.
Yeah.
But once you get that positive reinforcement from yourself, and again, I'm not a therapist, but I felt it myself.
Yeah.
You're like, shit, I can do it.
You're more likely, like when you jump these like smaller hurdles, you're more likely to like want to be like, okay, good, done, check. That's now my normal. Like, what's the next thing? Instead of being like, it's whatever month it is right now, September, October. By January, I want to have like lost X amount of pounds in this 6-pack. I want to be on this routine, and I'm going to start going to the gym tomorrow, 7 days a week, when I've never been to the gym before in my life. You know, like
you're setting unrealistic expectations.
It is,
for
and then
yourself.
you're setting yourself up to, and like, what's that Kobe Bryant quote that's like, failure doesn't exist in the moment, so like, why do you worry about it? Or like, why is it even a forethought? Like, whatever that quote is. And like, I totally agree with that.
Yes.
So you shouldn't also be like, I can't just do like focus on this one thing, because what if like then it falls through and then I have nothing, and
Yep.
It's kind of just like you have to like wipe the slate clean and just be like, what's the one thing I'm gonna coming from the people who are like, we have 700,000 things going on.
No, but I did this. I actually did this. I set myself up almost for like quote unquote failure. So I had written down, and this isn't even about fitness. It was I'm gonna film myself five times this week and create 5 reels. And Darius looked at me and was like, why don't you start with just like 1 reel this week? And I was like, no, I'm gonna do 5.
Yeah.
What did I do? 1 reel that week. And
then you feel like shit, I missed my mark.
Failed.
Yeah.
You're like, I actually failed. And if I had, you go through this like whole mindset of like, if I had actually done it, look at where I, like whatever, versus being really proud that you created one thing or you did one thing and you said you were going to do that one thing and you did it. And that like feeling of that positive reinforcement that you do for yourself is something I feel like that you can emulate and continue on. But these unrealistic, like, lose 10 pounds in 2 weeks and you hit
I can't.
But you get to 2 weeks and you don't lose 10 pounds and then you're like, this was stupid, and you don't want to do anything
give up
anymore.
Yeah. And it's like the immediate, like, also like PSA, like the immediate gratification thing of like, I've been hitting the gym consistently for a month. Why don't I look any different?
Yeah.
Is like the most, I hate that for everyone. I've been on, and like, again, this is my story. It's not like everybody's different, but like I've been on a fitness journey now for probably like 10 years, right? I just within the last probably year have been like, I've achieved like a body composition that like I've been wanting to achieve for a really long time.
But I think even on top of it, there's so much. There's hormones that go into it. There's
for sure.
Going from in the office to not in the office. You know, like there's all of these things that come into your fitness routine that then you have to like move, adjust, change. So it's always evolving, and I think we're so hard on ourselves. And I just was, I know someone was saying like, I'm so pissed that after 9 months going to the gym, like I finally am seeing results. It's like, no, you should be really freaking happy
about that. Yeah.
And proud, because I think your consistency, it's so much easier for your body to like bounce back and get to like, okay, I remember what it feels like to lift 22 pounds, whatever, or versus when you were just using your 10-pound weights or 5-pound weights and now you're using 22 pounds and you're like, wow, maybe you start it back at that 15, but it's easier to get back to that 22. You know what I mean? Because you're consistently doing it. Like, I just like note to everybody's like, don't give up on yourself. Like, you can and will continue on if you really want it.
And the other thing is that, like, especially speaking about like routine stuff, like your body, you have to also schedule in routinely a week off. Every 8 to 12 weeks, somewhere in that range, because like your body also gets used to like certain anabolic pathways, right? So like if it's used to functioning and like your metabolism and all this stuff operating at a certain like X level, eventually, as any other process in your body does, like you kind of like plateau a little bit. And then that's where people start to get frustrated. And instead of being like, let me take a week or let me take 2 weeks or whatever it is, it's like, let me hammer it harder and double up on, you know, days or like back-to-back workouts or like whatever it is. And it's not, I will tell you, like speaking from experience, like if I take a week off, like I go back to the gym, I lift heavier than I was lifting prior to
ready
me taking
for it.
Yeah, because like you have to give it that rest. But when people are like, so I want to lose weight or look a certain way or whatever, right, and I want it right now and I want it as fast as possible, they don't take like, and again, I am like offender of not taking a rest day.
Totally.
Not anymore.
We all are.
Not anymore, but it took me a very long time to be like, you can only lift 3 days this week. That's okay. Like,
I think it's also like it's figuring out what type of movement you like so that you'll stick with it. It's figuring out like what schedule is going to work for you. It's morning, it's evening, it's midday, it's, you know, you don't take the weekends off because that's when you have the most time. So maybe it's like Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, that's your day, you know, whatever it is, but you're starting wherever you're starting, not setting not setting goals that are like unattainable. And then it's figuring out how to schedule in your rest. How to schedule in the time where you can just like, whether maybe rest is like a sauna. And I love that there's so many of these places popping up that it's making it so much more accessible to everybody. Yeah. Maybe I hate cold plunging, but I try more and more to cold plunge because I think it's like good for you. But then I love a sauna where I can just like sit and I can sweat and have it with a girlfriend and you can like talk with a girlfriend, whatever. But it's like that type of recovery too. And also stretching. Like I'm the worst. So am I.
Oh my God, I'm the worst.
I kid you not, I sneezed the other day and literally like pulled my shoulder. Like from a sneeze.
Yeah,
like
no,
literally
I
like achoo, pulled my shoulder. And I think that that's when like the light bulb went off and I was like, I am not fully recovering from my workouts. I'm not stretching. I'm not getting massages. I'm not going to the chiropractor as much as I could. I'm not, like all of these things that are like, yes, it's adding more to your list, but like a little stretch at the end.
I know. And I think like the thing is like I get done at the gym and I'm like, I gotta get the fuck out of here. Like I can't be here. I couldn't be here possibly 8 more seconds to stretch. But
to your point, like
it's so bad.
Rest days or recovery days or whatever are like so needed.
Yeah. Get a little stretching at least on that day. I'm like the worst.
Same.
I do it too when I stretch my like clients out at class and I'm like, you gotta stretch those IT bands and those hip flexors, especially when you're on that bike, blah, 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 blah. And then I like leave for the day and I'm like, I haven't stretched my fucking hip flexor
this is actually what I'm saying to myself.
Yeah, like no. I'm
always like, please make sure you stretch. And then I'm like, Jordan, make sure you stretch.
Yeah,
like no.
Because I'm the worst. It's
Same.
not my.
I don't think it's like it's something I feel like we used to do, like at least like as a child in gymnastics, that we used to stretch, and then it's like you want, again, to the point of like who we are as humans, you want that 45 minutes to be like the most efficient 45 minutes, and that extra like 5-minute stretch is like no, that takes it to 50. Like I can't do it. But there's like so many things like at Lifetime where I teach, they have like a recovery room, like Normatec boots. Do I utilize it as much? No, not at all. But I could and I should.
Oh, I have every fucking Therabody product that's ever existed in my apartment.
It's almost like the convenience. Like it needs to be more convenient.
I know, but it's like,
and in your apartment, not convenient enough.
No,
sitting out on my kitchen counter.
I need it to operate itself. No. I need it to roll my ass out while I'm doing something else. Like
I need it to literally like have its own hands and feet and just like do it for me.
Yeah, because I don't know what it is, but it's just like the one thing that I can't.
Yeah, do you know how many times I've been like, I'm going to get a massage?
Maybe that'll be our 2025 like resolution or what the fuck ever is like stretch.
We've got some goals coming for you for 2025.
Yeah, big ones. But
stretch.
Maybe we should start with stretch so that I'm around to see 2026. Yeah.
So that I can sit up straight and not pull my shoulder out.
No, what's so funny? So I was looking at we have all these photos from like a shoot that we did for images just for like our brand stuff, and I was like looking at all of our pictures the other day. One of my very good friends is the one who like shot all of our images, and you can tell in the pictures that like we're sitting where she, right before she snapped the photo, was like, Taylor, sit up straight, because I'm literally like
no.
And then you can tell in the photos where I'm like
no, I'm telling you, sitting up straight is one of the things that is so hard. I bought a little vibrating thing that goes on your back so that when you hunch, it's like and it like tells you to sit up straight.
Sit the fuck up.
But like another thing that's fucking hard.
No, I know. It's so that's one thing that I've really tried to focus on is like posture stuff.
Yeah, because soon we're all gonna just like be like this.
And like, bitch, I'm already 5 feet tall. When I'm 80, I'm gonna be like 4'7".
My mom shrunk. I'm the tallest woman in my family at 5'2".
Like I can't. It's not gonna be good. But yeah, I was cracking up because you can tell in all those photos where she was like, Taylor, sit up straight, and I was like, okay. I'm working on it.
You're like, in due time.
Yeah. One last thing I want to say about like routine stuff and like taking care of you things, I guess, is I was listening to, do you know the Mind Pump Media guys?
No.
Okay, they're a podcast. It's Sal DiStefano is the like main guy. They all were bodybuilders and trainers of some nature or like whatever. I started listening to their I don't even know how I found them or what, but anyways, years ago. But Saul was just on somebody else's podcast. Oh, he was on The Skinny Confidential. That's how
we love him.
Okay, yeah. So he was talking about,
just on it, no? Or a little while ago. Okay.
I think it was over the summer because I'm pretty sure I was listening to it like at the pool one day or something. But he was saying that was at this conference. It was a non-fitness related conference. It must have been like a tech conference or something. And he was sitting across. This is like, I think about this all the time as far as like sticking to routine stuff and just taking care of myself things. So that's why I'm including this here. But he was sitting across the table from this woman, and they must have been like, what do you do for a living? What do you do for a living? And he like, told her, and she was like, oh, like my sister was really big into fitness, really big into taking care of herself. And then she ended up getting sick. I don't think he says like what she had, but she ended up getting sick. She passed away. And from that, I was kind of like, well, fuck it. Like, I'm just going to live my life like however I want and like to the fullest and all this stuff. And I'm going to eat whatever I want and I'm going to do whatever, like forget being. And he was like, I was sitting there like, why is the general notion of like living your best life treating your body like shit? And so like I think about that, and he's like, even like mentally, which like we always talk about this too, like it's like the whole body piece, but also like what's going on up here. But it's such a like to really think about that and hone in on that whole message. It's just like, how come that's the notion in this country that like eating whatever the fuck you want and like drinking whatever you want and being like sedentary and all that stuff is like living your best life? Like, why isn't living your best life?
And on the contrary,
eating good food.
Why do people think that people who are eating good food and whatever, it's like they're not living?
Yes,
there's that judgment of like, she doesn't drink, or like she or he, whatever, they don't do this or whatever. They're always at the gym, like that is
or
their
like
best
they
life.
never want to like eat junk food with me, or they never want to, which whatever, to each their own.
Yes.
Like whatever you want to do for you, great, fine. Whatever. But like when we're talking about like living our best lives, I think we need to like shift this focus of like me shoving a cheeseburger and fries up my ass is not like me living my, is it great sometimes? For sure. And do I still do it? Yes. But like to completely be like
one side
fuck
versus
everything
the
that
other.
has to do with health, like the wellness, what falls under the wellness umbrella, I'm gonna like.
No, I think that that's a big thing though, is like this could be like a whole other episode as well of like thinking about like in what ways would you want to live your best life. And it's like that medium ground of like balance, like not go, it's like the extremes of like only wellness, only being like quote unquote healthy, or best life of like I'm gonna fuck it, be sedentary, whatever. It's like find a middle ground.
Yeah.
I love burgers, I love fries, I love sandwiches that are like loaded with crap, whatever. I love cheese, even though I'm not supposed to eat dairy. I'm sorry, Morgan, but like I love cheese. But like it's finding that balance of like movement that you enjoy and eating the burgers. Thinking of the TikTok song, eating the dogs, eating the cats. When I said eating the burgers. But you know what I mean? It's not so extreme, but we live in extremes, and that's a thing
we
too.
do. We live in extremes. That's literally what it is. And it's I'm telling you, like I heard that, and it shifted my own perspective so much, where it's like, not that I was ever swinging really hard one way. Well, I might have been swinging on the fitness and like that healthy living
the all or
side
one mentality
too hard for a long time. Yeah, so I guess I am an offender, but it just is like that is the total message that we have here. It's like you have to be perfectly like in line with your vegetable intake and only that, or you have to be an absolute slob.
Well, I think it's also like two girls, and we'll get into this obviously at a later time, but two women here who have like struggled with eating disorders. We lived in that all or nothing mentality that like if we had a burger, fuck it, that ruins everything we've ever done.
Yeah.
We should just, like for me at least, go all the way. And I think there is this such all or nothing, like, fuck it, I'm just going to live like that all or nothing way.
20,000 calories today because I already started.
Yeah, or the other end of like, I'm only working out, eating my greens, getting restrictive 30 grams of protein every meal and whatever it is, like I think we live in that society, but I think it is a really good thought to leave everyone with is that quote that you said.
Yeah.
Of just thinking about that conversation and kind of where other people stand on it too.
Yeah. Okay, real quick, 3 wellness items, things you can't live without, have to have.
Electrolytes, element. I
She's
do.
like the flavored salt.
My ice roller, Skinny Confidential, literally has like changed the game for me. It is so cold, and I really do see differences in it. My final, I'm gonna say my tongue scraper. I like actually really am into that right now.
Yeah, people love the tongue scraping.
All right, you girl.
I have a red light mask.
Yeah, that's like on my list.
I live and die by that thing.
Yeah.
I live and die by that thing. And if I don't look exactly like this in 40 years, I will be getting my money back.
No,
But,
that's on my list to buy.
yeah. A red light mask. Dude, a water bottle. Like, I have a Stanley, whatever. It doesn't matter what brand. I will not consume the water if it's not in a
Yeah, I
steel
was gonna
bottle
say
with a
water,
straw.
but I felt like that was lame. So thanks for
It might
saying
be
it.
lame. But like, I just can't. Like, I cannot. If it's in a glass next to me, I'm not drinking it.
Glass, it's gotta be Simply Modern makes some cute ones
Yeah,
too.
they do have cute ones.
Yeah.
Or Awala is like another
Yeah.
one. Yeah, I'm a water. It has to be a water bottle. And then what else? Oh, this is like, I don't even know if this is I guess it's a wellness thing. It's a skincare thing. I'm a skincare headband girly. Like, I cannot
Oh.
wash this face or put makeup on or do anything without my skincare
We
headband.
may have to make some custom shit because, like,
Yeah.
I'm into a skincare headband. I've never had one
Never
before.
used- oh my god, you use the headband and then you get the little wrist guys so you don't get your sweat, like your sleeves wet when you wash your face.
Oh my! Wow.
No,
They
ever
really
since I
thought of
started
everything.
ever since I started using the skincare headband, I don't know what to do with that. Last night I wasn't home. I had gone to a show and stayed somewhere else, and I'm like, I don't even know how to function over this thing
Oh my
without this thing now.
god!
Yeah.
Wow.
Skincare headband, red light mask, water bottle,
Electrolytes,
tongue scraper.
tongue scraper, ice roller. I mean,
love an
look
ice
at that!
roller,
Like,
too.
look at that group we've just created of wellness
Of
products.
gadgets. Yeah, check it out.
Well, check.
Check episode 3.
Go Bills. Go Bears.
Go Bills. Oh yeah, sorry about the Bears.
We're in Chicago. They suck. But actually, we've got hope. We have
I
to
mean, the
keep
play
hope.
calling's really bad, but some of my guy friends are like, "Can we just get 30 minutes?"
Here's
of,
what I
like,
say: Go sports.
Can we
Go
just get
sports.
30 minutes of NFL content from you? I'm like, Jordan, I'm not sure that's going to flow well.
Yes,
for
go
us.
sports. I just
Yeah,
said it.
yeah.
30 minutes. Here we go.
Okay.
We'll see you next time
See you then.
because everything's fine.
Everything's fine.